around the world, but when we're stressed out, we get home, we wash our hands, and we watch some wrestling. It's a late night edition of WrestleZone Daily. WrestleZone. I got my plastic gloves on. I'm washing my hands. WrestleMania. Woo. I got a glove for each night they're gonna have it. All right, we're gonna get into that. AEW has revealed their Exalted 1. Matt Hardy is in AEW. We're going to cover it all on this show. If you are with us live, share the link. If you were with us live, get your comments on screen, all right? And if you're going to not be able to do the whole show, well, watch it on demand later on Facebook, YouTube, and listen to the podcast. Subscribe. We have post shows, the new Survey Says series we're launching in there, and you get 4 episodes of WrestleZone Daily every single week. Subscribe to WrestleZone Radio on your podcast app of choice. We're on iTunes. We're working on Spotify. We're going to do all that stuff. I'm Kevin Kellum. That's Robert DeFelice. A lot of big wrestling news here. We're just a few weeks away from WrestleMania. The world is dealing with the COVID-19 outbreak. It is getting more and more stressful by the day, but we gotta center in on the message here, guys. Before we get into wrestling news, we got to do the real thing here. We hope that everyone is taking this seriously. Robert, you and I have talked about this off mic. There's some people that simply aren't taking this seriously, especially younger people who think, oh, well, it's just something that happens to old people. No, the thing is, you could be a carrier for it, feel no symptoms whatsoever, and simply spread it to someone who has an immune deficiency. Maybe they've had a surgery. Maybe they're older, someone you care about in your family. So follow all of the CDC.gov guidelines. Go to CDC.gov. That is direct from the U.S. government. You can follow those. If you're in a different part of the world, follow what your local health officials are saying. This is pretty serious, guys.
This is serious. It's serious enough that they have canceled and divided WrestleMania. I mean, yes. And wrestling fans, you need to know that ain't happened in 36 years. No. Nothing's canceled WrestleMania. They had bomb threats in 91. They simply moved to a smaller venue. This is real. This is scary. Wash your damn hands, what I'm saying.
This is an invisible war, and that's the way you should be treating it. We're in wartime, okay? And if you staying home and washing your hands too much and isolating yourself from other people and doing something you enjoy already, spending a bunch of time on the internet, that's too hard for you, all right? Come on now. The thing you want to do, go home and just goof around with us on the internet. Now you can do that 24/7, at least for the next few weeks. So just follow what they're doing. CDC.gov. I've been in a studio for 12 hours all day here today. So I've literally have been in this building for 3 days. So I'm rocking and rolling. We got a lot to get
is stir crazy inside the land of the peacock, NBC Tower.
I am in NBC Tower, where they have had a confirmed case. They've had a confirmed case of COVID-19 in the building. I'm told it is, I know, scary to say. And this is something you got to get used to. I didn't freak out when I heard it. If you told me a week ago, I would have freaked out. The thing to think about too is you got to treat it like you already have it. So wash your hands and be safe and be healthy, and keep an eye on your neighbors too. You can even though you have to be 6 feet away from your neighbors, you can still be like, "Hey, Mrs. Johnson, you all right?" You can just do that one.
I'm hoping there's no cases confirmed in the venue I'm currently in, because that would be an issue. Because I'm in my house.
Yeah, you're in your house. All right, let's get into wrestling news. Let's talk about something fun.
That's right, wrestling. We think we need to just isolate and social distance ourselves from the discussion of the virus.
All right, Robert, you're in Florida. I'm here. We're already following protocol.
We've been following social distancing for about the last 2 years. That's why it works. That's why it simply works, folks. But you know what I want to talk about is AEW. Yes, there was NXT. It was largely a clip show driven by the Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano rivalry, which is never bad.
No, it was actually really neat to see them play out every single one because it's such a long story. But AEW, I felt the need to watch it first because this is their first shot at the no fan experience that a lot of wrestling shows are going to have to do now. Tell me about what they had tonight. They did some big stuff tonight.
They did some, AEW is always about fans first, and I felt that fan service even with no fans in the venue. The show opened up with Cody Rhodes talking about standing united, even if that means apart. Cut to a wide shot of the venue, which is dark and closed off. Kenny Omega comes out, talks about, I don't even know if I'll have a Dynamite next week. More on that later. Matt Jackson comes out. He says, it's just the three of us. How are we going to make it through blood and guts? Hangman comes out. They ask, are you with us? He kind of just looks at his drink, looks at them, walks away. Then Kenny Omega says, listen, the people need love. They need entertainment. Cue the lights, cue the pyro. Dynamite starts now. And sure enough, in a building with nobody, out come the lights and out come the pyro. Explosions everywhere. Dynamite is on the air, looking as close to a traditional presentation as physically possible in these times.
Mm.
I know you got to see it. What did you think about the overall staging of the show?
It felt as big time as you could get with no fans. WWE's pinched with their Raw and SmackDown shows by having the Performance Center and not having even Full Sail, which they could fit fans into, and they can't even have fans in there. But this is Daily Center. It's owned by the Jaguars. It's owned by the Khan family. So they had pyro. WWE did some pyro stuff as well. So I think AEW had the benefit of being on the air after WWE did it, so they could kind of take some production notes and make some changes because so much of it was undone by WWE. And you almost saw with Raw, they did stuff they didn't do on Monday. Like they didn't. We're not going to change the commentary a whole bunch, though. That was fun on Friday. Like that did jar the show a little bit. Like, all right, we're gonna if we're gonna do matches, we're gonna shoot it this way. We're gonna have it this angle. We're gonna do something with the screen, like they did it with Undertaker and AJ Styles on Monday. I kind of dug that. Like, all right, we got to have some gaga. We got to use some of the elements here. We can't just have cameras on the ring, cut to pre-tape stuff. Though that's cool. I mean, we got a full Royal Rumble, but I thought AEW did a lot of really fun, clever stuff tonight with having wrestlers that weren't going to have matches around the ring and kind of cameo, cutting to MJF. That allowed them to feature a lot more talent without telling talent, you just got to stay in the back or not even be here, But I did think they were sort of pushing it a few times in terms of how many people they could have. It didn't feel like a closed set. Is that fair to say?
Kevin is concerned about the well-being of the wrestlers. He says they're not practicing.
Robert, I will be right back. B-Live's doing the weird wonky thing. I'll be right back.
B-Live is doing the weird wonky thing, so you're here with me, clean-shaven me. Kevin's concerned about the well-being of the wrestlers. I thought it was great. I thought they were able to do a lot with the character work. They did some great stuff with MJF, who was betting on the matches all night. Sean Spears got to be seen. Poor Tully Blanchard was there, but he's just like, yeah, I'm Tully Blanchard. I'm not going to say anything. Colt Cabana having a lot of fun at the show. Tried to start a Cero Miedo chant. Tried to do a lot of things. Got into it with Kip Sabian. My favorite line, maybe of Colt Cabana's whole career, Kip Sabian was pushing him around and he slapped Sabian in the face and he goes, "You act like I'm not a wrestler."
I'm a wrestler too. I
you think I'm not a wrestler? Like, yeah. One of the better lines from Colt Cabana is,
you want to squash this one coming in here? Did AEW bite the idea of WWE not having an audience? No.
Did they bite the idea of WWE?
No,
they did not. Like we cannot have audiences. Social distancing, guys.
No one can have an audience right now. This isn't like
I thought
no. Don't say anyone ripped anyone off.
If there's anything that they did that was biting, it was the biting take on doing it differently by having the wrestlers in the crowd, so it doesn't come off as much of an existential nightmare as Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown had.
There were some things on this show, though, that no matter what you do, felt hollow in comparison to doing it with an audience, and I don't hold that against them. You know what I mean? Like, they're just telling the storyline, and like they revealed the Exalted one. We'll get into that. They teased stuff with Matt Hardy. We're going to get into that. And you got all these big moments, and you had some really cool matches. I thought the women had a really fun 4-way match. But you mentioned the stuff with Colt Cabana and Kip Sabian. You know, if they did that they did that from right over the rail, and there were fans around them, how much more exciting would that be? You know,
I disagree, because one of the tropes of wrestling I don't like is when wrestlers are like, "Hey, I bought a ticket. I'm in the audience." Like, I don't like that.
I got a ticket.
I don't like that trope, because it's like, okay, you're not on the card, but you can get in the building, pal. You work for the company. You work for the company. So I actually liked it like this with an empty arena. Logan Blade with a little spoilery do saying both Matt and Jeff Hardy returned in empty arenas. Matt did not, surprisingly, being broken, did not play to it as oddly as his brother Jeff did on Friday night. He did not shout Jacksonville to a crowd of nobody. He didn't do that. But, you know, let's talk about the highlights. Let's hit the high points. Let's hit them fast.
Yes.
Brodie Lee, the former Luke Harper, is the exalted one. Wow, talk about, you know, you think they're going one way, you think Matt Hardy, he's spelling out exalted on Twitter. They're spelling out Matt Hardy at 3 a.m. in elongated, what do you call those? Not haikus, but acronyms. You know, AEW really had some fun with this. Matt Hardy's going to be the exalted one thing, and they hit you